happens. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good morning and welcome to Saratoga today on Sunday, July 27th, here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz, along with co-host Pete Visco. We are here to discuss the late Pick 5 today, Sunday at Saratoga. Pete, well, two quick things. First of all, congratulations on your excellent picks yesterday that you gave out on the show Thursday and on your little on your own little tip sheet that you have on the internet. You were en fuego. Just following up on Noah Maher and a few other people on this show lately who've been on fire.
Yeah, the picks have been good. I mean, hopefully people are following. Hopefully people are riding along with us. We've been picking some winners, some decent prices too. Not all, not a lot of favorites, not all favorites, I should say. So we've been rolling. Hopefully we can keep it going today.
Daisy Flyer came through for both of us very nicely with Lascano.
Nice.
That helped Pat and I cash a nice pick 5, and you as well. I don't know if you had the 5 in the first leg, but we had the 5 in the first leg. If that 5 had gotten up over the 2, that pick 5 really would have paid. That was where the 2 Stewie won the first race. It was like a really close race.
I don't think. No, I didn't have the 5 on my ticket, even though I liked the 5 a little bit. But I didn't have the 5 on my ticket, and I had gone probably about 5 deep too in that leg, I think. So I was pretty happy that Stewie.
When it's going well, it's going well, my friend.
Yeah.
The unfortunate news. Well, there's actually 2 other topics I want to talk about really quickly. The unfortunate news, of course, rain came overnight at Saratoga. It is clearing out, but they are off the turf for races. I think it's 3, 5, 8, and 10. The stake race, the Glens Falls, is on the turf. Any thoughts and comments of people that follow your Saratoga tip sheet that are watching today? Anything you want to say? Because obviously that's going to change things now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have it up in front of me. So I had a horse in the third, was one of mine. And I think they scratched. So I gave out a spot play in the third, the number 10 Sunrise. That horse scratched. And then in the eighth, I think my horse I had the 4 Likely Perspective. That horse scratched as well. So apologies. A couple of the, like we always say, we send out the picks, we write the picks up generally the day before. So it's really hard to adjust when you get the scratches late like this. It's really hard, especially if you're doing the write-up portion. So apologies to anyone, but I still think there's a few picks on there that people can ride with, and they can supplement with what we're going to talk about here. So.
For sure. There's still reasons why. Here comes all the hatred and all the love from the West Coast players. See, this is why you should be playing Del Mar. Look, it rains in New York. That's fine. It's still fantastic cards in general. So I don't even want to go there. Last thing, thoughts, Pete, on yesterday's thrilling Jim Dandy?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, Sovereignty showed why he's the best 3-year-old. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I thought Baeza ran well, and we talked about it a little in the chat. I think I might have spoken badly. I said it was not the ride I wanted. It wasn't even a bad ride necessarily. It was not the trip that I thought Baeza needed to win the race. So it wasn't like the ride was the problem. It was more the trip, and Sovereignty was just too close. And maybe that was the byproduct of being a 5-horse field too, where you're not going to be too far back. Maybe if there were, maybe if there were 10 horses in the race, it shakes out a little bit different. But if Sovereignty's on Baeza that close, he's never going to beat him ever, I don't think. So I think it was sort of a done. And to me, when I was watching it, I was like, this race is over. I want Baeza to win, but at least I have Sovereignty in the pick 5.
Yeah, well, we look, I don't want to take 20 minutes to digest. We talked about it yesterday on the Weekend Warriors show, and we'll talk about it a little bit. Actually, you're going to be out of town next week, I think, but we'll talk about it on the show next Thursday. I talked extensively. We talked that I did not want him sitting a pocket trip, and I actually thought when Barrios came to the outside on the backstretch, that was a great move. It was an early move, but I think he had to do it. He had no choice. And I'll tell you what, Pete, I'm just going to leave it at this. I love Sovereignty. He's awesome, obviously. This talk that like Baeza can never beat Sovereignty, all these like big he can never beat Sovereignty, or he's never going to beat Sovereign. Like, Baiza's going to still improve, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's going to beat Sovereignty this year, but to suggest that like Baiza is like is like 3 feet tall and Sovereignty is like 20 feet tall, as if there's like a 10 length difference between them. To me, it's just absolutely silly. I thought Baiza ran huge. I think he's going to continue to improve, and Sovereignty's the king of the king right now, and he's just fantastic. But like, if something weird happens in the Travers, or I mean, I don't think like Baiza can't beat him in the Travers like to lead pipe cinch. I mean, we have to see what happens. Although I did tell Paul that if Magnitude goes into the Travers, we discussed this when he was on the show yesterday, a week in Wars. If Magnitude's in the race, Pete, I don't think that does Baez any favors.
No, well, no, because he's going to have to stick closer to a horse that's good, and he's going to have to fight him. He's not going to be like, "Hey, let me just blow by this horse and get the
Right.
lead." I think the problem is, as 3-year-olds, I don't think Baeza can beat Sovereignty unless Sovereignty gets the worst of it from a trip perspective. That's the
Sure.
way I look at it. And there's not going to be that many opportunities. That's another problem. What
Well,
are you
that's
going to? They're
true
going to
too.
run in the Travers. They're going to run what in the Classic potentially, and that's it.
Probably not. I
2
meant sort of
shots.
going forward. Like, people are suggesting, like,
Well,
but
no,
Sovereignty might
like
not.
3 to 4. I mean, well, we don't even know if Sovereignty's going to run
Well,
that
I think
far
he'll
into
go
a
to
4-year.
Dubai because of
That's
the
it. But yeah,
connections.
yeah.
But anyway, that's story for another day. Let's get into the pick five. Again, if you follow Pete's power picks, they're going to be changing. Well, he's not going to send out, we're not going to send out new ones, but just that's why people are listening to the show right now. So let's get into it. The dirt might be fast by the time they run. It is clearing out at Saratoga, and I don't think there's going to be rain, at least not expected the rest of the day. So we'll see. It's going to start sloppy early part of the card, Pete. What happens towards the end of the card in 6 hours from now is really difficult to say. So let me just refresh these. We do have scratches in. I don't know if they're going to show up on here or not, but we'll talk. I don't think there's any scratches in race 6.
There's none in this race. That's why
All
we're
right,
not
awesome.
seeing them there. Yeah.
All right, so we're starting the pick five, maiden special weight, 90,000 per 7 furlongs. New York bred maidens, nice field of 10, coupled entry, big favorite here in the number 2, keeping it real for Chad and Flavian. Let me go ahead with our picks on the screen right now for the late pick five, starting in race 6, and here they are. I'm going 2-3-5. You're going 2-8-3. We're both going to chalk out, but I can see scenarios in which keeping it real gets beat, but we're going to go with him anyway.
Yeah, I can too, but he's just super logical here, and I mean, you're looking at it, and again, it sucks that we don't know if it's going to be wet or what the track conditions, but you figure it's going to be a little wet at least, most likely, even by the 6th. This horse, at least, you see just the improve, came back as a 3-year-old from a figure perspective, had buyer top, time form top. They put Lasix on. Ran fine last time, was part of a big favorite and lost, but it was in the slop at least. So at least showed a decent affinity for a wet track, if that's what we get later. But just on form and figures, it's a logical favorite connection. You got Pratt, who again, Pratt hasn't been lighting it up at Saratoga, but maybe some of his wins yesterday at Del Mar got his confidence back, and now he can start riding a little better. But look, you see him, he could be on the lead. If somebody else goes, I think he could sit just off. I mean, he's just logical. I don't know what you think.
I do. There's no doubt. He's clearly the horse to beat. I'm not going to single him, though. I feel the same way about keeping it real that I felt about Arthur's ride yesterday. Now, people are going to say, what the hell are you talking about? They're different horses, different races. My point is that he's the horse to beat, but I'm not sure I trust him, is my overall thinking here for different reasons. I do want to show Solo Jim here, who's in this race, who I have second, you have third. The last time they raced, he got a weird, interesting trip. Watch the 1, but watch the 8 Solo Jim, everyone. You can make your own determination on what we see. It was very sloppy that day. Again, watch the keeping it real, and Solo Jim is the 8 here. Keeping it real is the 1 and ran very well. Here's the 8 in pink. The 1 got a very good trip and ran very well, Pete. But the 8 actually just missed a little bit of a study there. And then what I really want to show is on the back stretch. It's like this was his first start. I don't know what happened here. He's in a good position. Again, he's in the pink, and he starts falling back. I don't know if it was the kickback or what, but like right here, Let me
Yeah.
freeze it. Let me
Looks like he's
freeze it.
done. Yeah.
It's a little hard to see, but he's like falling back. You're like, Howard, why even bother showing this replay? And you're like, he's going to finish last, right? If you look at, I don't know what happened. He completely loses touch with the field people. I mean, look at the chiclet here on the bottom right. I mean, he's like in last, right? But then he's sort of like, oh, I'm in a horse race. He's right here. Again, here's keeping a real weight in front. He's right here. He's still not really running, but then he sort of re-rallies and regathers. I'm going to let it run because I thought this was a fascinating replay. Here's keeping it real right here. And he's not quitting, Pete. It's not like the jockey's giving up. He's actually asking. And no, he's not like making a big run, but he is passing some horses. He's still trying. So is the one. And based on the fact, Pete, that he lost touch with the field there, when you look at the margin of finish, okay, like, yes, obviously the one was much better, but I don't see that as like completely insurmountable today. Plus the fact this is his second start. And then I know you can feel free to give me shit. That's absolutely fine. But I have to watch through the race, like just out of curiosity, right? The 6 is winning the race. And I mean, what? So people are fine. It's after the race. Okay. But the 8, look at this. I mean, he's still galloping out with some energy here. He's not asking Pete. He's just doing it on his own. So I don't know if you saw that gallop out. I know a lot of people stop watching replays, Pete, like after they cross the wire.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know if it matters. I just found that weird and interesting.
I did watch it only because
Also putting blinkers on today. Sorry, Pete.
No, please. I watched it because I like the 3. Or I'm always curious because this was a horse who took a little bit of money, was 8-1, so didn't take a ton, but took at least some money and just crapped the bed. But you look at it, and you're like, wait a minute, broke slow, was a little behind, was 7th and then 11th. That's weird, and then closed back into it. So I was like, I got to watch the race just to figure out what the hell that looked like. So I watched it, and that's just one of those. It was really sloppy. So even today, if we get a wet track by the time they get to this race, it's not going to be like that, most likely, unless some storm comes out. It's not going to be a bog like it was then. So I'm thinking maybe this one just was like, holy crap, what the hell is this? I've never run in this kind of mess before. And maybe this horse is just better. And even if it is a little bit wet, I think there's breeding side of it where I think wouldn't mind the wet terribly.
Right.
But I just think you're going to get a better race. And if you can get that late kick, it may not be enough to make up the difference between the two.
No.
But I think it's enough for this horse to run well. And if you can get him at a decent price, if you can get like the 8-1, then I think it's a nice play if you're betting a Dutch Exacta, or if the 2 doesn't fire for some reason, I think the 3's got a shot. I mean, I would put the 3 on a pick 5 ticket.
Gary Slayton wants to know about the 8, which is perfect transition, Pete, because you've got the 8. By the way, the 3 solo gym has a B workout last time, which is pretty good for this level.
That's
Crescendo's
nice.
Reign for Charlie Baker. He can pop once in a while. I don't love 4-year-olds. Gary wants to know. I'm not going to speak for Pete. Pete's got him second. I do not like horses that are taking this long to debut in the in the middle of the summer here as a 4-year-old. But you think this one is interesting in second. I've got this one as an extreme backup. I personally don't like some things, but feel free, Pete.
I didn't like the field that much. And when I was getting to this horse, there were just a few, basically when the first time where you look at things like the bad thing is the trader stats. So Charlton Baker, 3 for 75, first time starters. Not so good. You don't like that there. And I don't have the horse on top, so I wasn't super concerned. But not this time is always good. 17% 3-year-old and up, first time starters, 18% dirt sprints, and even 20% on wet dirt if it is a little bit wet. The dam side, 2 for 3 in the top 2 first time starters, 32% dirt sprints, 50% in the top 2 wet dirt. So my thing was, if it's a little wet, I think this horse will like it maybe more than others. And I don't know. I just thought the breeding says to me that this horse could be ready to run early. Charlton Baker's track record doesn't go with that, though. So does the horse overcome Charlton Baker? But again, hey, he won 3 of the 75. 4 out of 76 still stinks, but it can happen, right? That's the way I look at it.
The 5 is working a little bit better. I won't say a lot. I don't want to mislead our viewers and listeners. Is working a little bit better than the 8. I sort of like the breeding more. You see Rusty Arnold, who won yesterday for us, by the way, on that 3-horse,
Yeah.
is 10%. And look at his average payout. Like, again, Pete, I talked about this yesterday on the show, and we talked about it on Thursday. For a Kentucky guy like Rusty Arnold to send horses here, he must like them. Now, this is a New York bred. I guess a little different situation, but
Yeah.
I think sometimes there's a little bit of signal in the noise, and I think that was one of the cases yesterday. Probably not in this race, but I just want to mention it. All right, we took a long time. Let's go
I
on to
had that
race
5
7.
was my next horse, by the way. So
Okay,
I'm with you on the 5 too.
race 7 is on the turf. It's the only race on the turf of the actual whole day, and I assume it's going to stay on the turf. Let's hope it does, because they would have to run it a different day. I mean, there's only one MTO. I don't even know if the other horses would even run. So I'm assuming this is going to stay on the turf unless the conditions are completely unsafe. It is the Glen Falls. It is a grade 3. Uh, yeah, sorry, grade 2. Excuse me. Mile and a half, 3 turns on the inner older fillies and mares. The 8 is out. They're leaving the 9 in just in case, but the 9's an MTO. The Moorline favorite is the number 6, Belleza, for Clement and Rosario. Clement actually has 3 of them, including number 3, Sakaya, which is a Adelphi partially owned horse. And I do have information, ladies and gentlemen, on the number 3, Sakaya, which I will share a little bit. I want to be respectful to Matt Cutera and Adelphi, but I will share a slight bit of information. I'm going 651. You're going 165. We see this. Actually, you know what? I'm adjusting. I need to adjust this, Pete, because of what I learned. I'll explain in a second here. I'm actually going to go 615. Hold on one second here. I'm going to go 615. Oh, made a mistake. I'm going to go 615. So we're thinking along the same lines with the same 3. You're going to come back with La Mahena, one of the Clements who won nicely last time. And there's like, it's weird, Pete. There's 7 horses in this race, and 5 of them came out of the same allowance race.
Yeah.
And then you have Beleza, and then you have actually I think no, Lady Firefly came out of that race too. Every horse came out of the same race that we're going to show, except for Beleza, the number 6.
Yeah, it's crazy, and actually Beleza ran against La Mahena 2-back. So
Yeah.
I like this. We always talk about this. I like it's like the old harness style where you see the horses run against
Yeah.
each other
Oh,
back.
look at
That's my
this, all
favorite,
6.
and you don't see it a ton always in the graded stakes, but I
Yep.
really like it. La Mahena is just a horse that I've
I'll get to the
always.
stretch.
Yeah,
Go
please go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
La
you talk
Mahena is
about it.
a horse that I've always sort of just liked, and I wanted to be better than maybe her results were. And that's probably
Yeah.
because I would put money on her and not win the races. You see her, she's the one there, and she's sort of gobbling up ground from obviously someone else who's in the race, since they're all in this race. But
They're all in this
she,
race.
yeah, but I thought that she showed a better kick than, because she got a similar trip that she's gotten in the past, and she's always had a good kick, but this one was enough to get the job done. Maybe you put a little guy named Flavian Pratt on the horse, and he figures out how to get her closer and how to get her to attack a little bit better. And now Pratt's up again and again. We said Pratt hasn't been great at Saratoga, but I'm still going to take my chances that Pratt's going to give the horse the ride that I want. So, like, from a figure standpoint, nothing different. It wasn't anything crazy. That's the thing when these
Yep.
horses run against each other all the time. It may just be who gets the trip that day. They're not appreciably better. I don't know if you agree. I don't think anyone's appreciably better than anyone else in this race, but I'll take Pratt on a trip that I think, and I think the information you're going to provide means there might be a little bit of speed up front, or at least it won't
Oh,
be.
actually, well,
Oh,
I was
you're
going to
going to
show the
go.
time form because you asked about, the difference in the, they're all somewhat similar. La Mahena 117, 118,
Yep.
at the top. Went by no show. That 5 was no show. Sammy Joe that we just saw in the replay. Relatively close, maybe a little bit slower. Sakai is definitely slower right now. Lady Firefoot, no chance. Long Ago is right there with them, the 5.
Yeah.
And then Beleza to me is better though, 121, 119. That's gonna be our top choice. I'll talk about in a minute. And then you have Dazzling Dictator, who was the 6th in that replay. He actually got steady a little bit in the stretch and ran her best race ever. Immensitude is out. So Yeah, there's not much difference separating any of these, especially the ones that are coming out of the race we just watched.
Yeah,
At least the
no,
top
that's
horses.
yeah, the top horses. I think they're close
Yeah.
enough to where I think a lot of it is going to be trip dependent.
Well, I think Belaza is actually better. Belaza is actually better than these.
I agree with you there. I think she's the better horse, but she's not so much better that I'm like they can't beat her unless
No.
like something really bad happens to her trip wise. I think she could be beat on the square. Is the way I look at it.
Yeah, I'm mainly 1-6. If it's not 1 or 6, I'd be a little surprised, to be very honest. I just like the class from Belaza. I mean, first time US beat Beach Bomb. Second time Unyielding, by the way, faced She Feels Pretty, who wasn't losing that day. By the way,
Yeah.
Unyielding, and also in Europe, at Navan in Ireland, this horse won Unyielding. And it's not, yielding in Europe is like, we don't even run on it here.
Yeah,
But my
no.
point is, this horse clearly can handle soft and it is still lightly raced as a 4-year-old. I would put a win bet on the 6 at 9-5, probably. I don't know if I'm getting 9-5, to be honest. I think she is better, but yes, the trip's going to matter quite a bit. The one thing I want to mention, then we're going to move on. By the way, long ago, I liked last time at Churchill and ran huge and just lost to Pin Up Betty. That was the pick 6 last day at Churchill, pick 6 day, if you remember, when
Yeah.
they had mandatory payout. And Pin Up Betty got the job done. But long ago ran big.
Wait.
Long ago
Can I
is,
ask you one question before you go to long ago that's related to the one in the 6?
yeah.
In case I
Go
forget.
ahead.
They're both Clermont horses, obviously. Pratt
Yep.
rode them both last time, and not
Yes.
consistently. He's only ridden them once each, and he's on the one. Do you give any credence one way or the other to that? I just wanted to get your opinion on it.
Normally
Only
I'd
because
say
he
yes.
only rode them once each, so it's not like, hey,
Right.
he's ridden this horse 5-6 times in a row. Makes sense. That's the one he would choose.
It's what happened to our top? Hold on a second. I lost our top 3.
Lost
there.
our banner.
Okay.
There we go.
No, and I'll tell you why, Pete. Because Rosario's first call from Clement.
Okay, I just wanted to mention it in case anybody in the chat was thinking about it.
It's a great question. No, because Rosario's actually, I give the 6 more credit. If Rosario was on the 1, I'd actually, in a weird way, be slightly concerned because Clement's could put their best horses. Look, Pratt is amazing, but Rosario is first call for Clement. So the answer to your question is no. In this situation. Now,
I agree. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to get your opinion for the listeners.
No problem. Longo can win. I'm not sure about the yielding. I'm not sure she classes up, but Longo, not impossible. I'm going to use her extremely defensively. The other horse I want to talk about, and we'll go through the last 2 races, ladies and gentlemen, much quicker than these. I have information on Sakaya. Sakaya was going close to the lead when she was in France. They thought pretty highly of this horse, and Adelphi Racing and Stephen Rocco, they bought this horse, paid a decent amount for this horse, Pete. They thought pretty highly of her. I have bet her the last 2 times, more last time because she was training well. She just didn't fire. They're going to lead today. I'm just going to leave it at that. Saez, they're going to lead. If that means she's good enough, I don't know. She's been training well. She's better in the mornings than she's shown in the afternoons. If Sakai gets loose and appreciates the soft, I'm not going to completely discount her. In fact, I'm using her as an extreme backup just because she's training well. And the last thing I'll say, Pete, and we'll go on to the next race, is how do I say this without let's just say that Miguel still has some confidence in her. I'm going to leave it at that.
I mean, he didn't need to
figure
put her
why
in
not
here,
drop
right?
this horse, right?
Yeah,
Like, why
he didn't
keep
need
her?
to put her here. He's got 2 other ones.
So again, I'm not saying bet the house. I'm just saying, you're forewarned if Sakai runs better than her line show. So,
but that could be if
she is going to the lead, or they're going to try to go to the lead at least. Which why I don't like Longo as much. If I didn't know that info, and it might kick me in the ass later on, but if I didn't know that, Pete, I would like 5 a lot more, and which is why I have the 1 in second. So that just wanted to clarify all that.
No, but I think it's good information because if the 3 gets on the lead, even if she's not good enough to beat La Mahena or Belleza, she can still hit the board. You could still get something out of the try. You could get an exacta potentially if you like one of the others, just because, hey, a horse can get loose in Saratoga on the turf. We've seen that many times.
Oh, no doubt about that. This race 8's off the turf now. It's 5.5 furlongs, 35 claimers. You see the scratches of the 3, 4, 9, and 11. A little surprised the 11 is scratches at MTO,
Yeah, me
but
too.
yeah, is scratched. Look at this, Pete. We're both going with horses that are in the main body. I'm going 5, 8, 10. You're going 5, 12, 10. We're both going with George Weaver. Speed of sound coming off a layoff. Questions to answer, but obviously there's things we like.
Yeah, this is one too where I wish we had a better sense for what the track was going to be like later in the day, because I thought this one, Vacoma's very good on wet dirt, 22%. You see the Tomlin set. I know we pointed out every once in a while. I don't know if you want to put the cursor there, but it's got a 417 wet Tomlinson rating. And again, that doesn't mean a ton one way or the other, but when you're looking at horses that haven't run a bunch, or you're looking at an off track, it could be at least a useful tool. Moves to Weaver. We're coming off a layoff, but at least this horse in maiden special won the debut all the way back in May, has been working solid enough. Nothing outstanding, but at least has been working solid enough. Weaver made second time starters who won their maiden last out on dirt is only 1 for 11. But I thought this horse looked good enough, whether this was turf or dirt. I thought looks good enough. And there's enough to where if the track is a little bit wet, I think there's enough in the breeding to say this horse is at least going to like it. So that's enough for me to put the horse on top, but not in any sort of. This is a spreadier race. Like if we could go skinny in that last one and in the first one, I would maybe spread a little bit here.
I agree. I usually would automatically go to the MTOs on the outside. I don't think they're really any damn good. And I almost never go with main body horses in this type of race. But by the way, B workout last time for black type thoroughbreds. If the 5 is ready, and I'm guessing she is, I think she's definitely a factor. Now, there's other speed in the race here. I defaulted to Proud Mary. I'm not literally proud of it in second. I know that this is mainly a turf horse, but her dirt number was not that good in the slop, but they're keeping her in this race, and she's in pretty good form. I don't love this pick, but I want some that looks like they can pass horses, Pete.
Yeah.
Because it looks like just maybe it's just gonna be a merry-go-round race. So I got Proud Mary in second, although I have major questions about the wet. But again, why would they keep this horse on then? They must think that it's going to dry up, or they must think the horse is actually going to run okay. So that's a little bit of a cheeky kind of opinion of mine that might not work out at all. I've got Spun Size, one of the MTOs, who has no rider. Again, the young guys have talked about this. It's hard to win a race when you have no rider, but somehow the 10 might find.
Well, actually, it's better sometimes, don't they? They're a little lighter.
Could be.
As long as they go the right way, right?
No doubt. Blinkers off to New York Bred. Again, I don't love her, but you've got the 12 in the mix, Ragtime Sizzle. I looked at the time form. The time form is really slow. I mean, really slow. But
yeah,
maybe with Franco and Cantamasi, this is a major drop. This is a spread race. I don't trust a lot of horses in here at all, Pete.
No, 100%. That's why I thought it was a spread, because I didn't really love anyone. I thought the 12, at least the first 2 races were on off tracks and were decent enough. Then the race 2 back breaks the maiden. And then in the last one, just really crapped the bed. But maybe what I'm looking at is, I don't know, maybe the 7 furlongs, although ran pretty well in a mile and 3/16. So that's weird. But maybe the 7 just wasn't to her liking. Now we're cutting back a little bit. So, again, in a race, if you told me you wanted to use all of them, I wouldn't argue with you. And that's not my thing in any way. But if you told me I'm just going to use them all and see if anybody jumps up at a big price, I'd say go ahead, have fun with it.
Yeah, it's a tricky race. Race 9, the penultimate right leg on the card, is now out of the 1 mile shoot. Optional claiming 50,000. This is still a pretty good race, even though it's a smaller field. 110,000 is the purse. It's a field of 6. The 4, Magnolia Midnight, who's a significant scratch beat because she was going to show a lot of speed. And to me, that changes things a little bit. Let me show our picks on the bot. Boy, Pete, you and I are very simpatico today.
Yeah.
I'm going 6-1-2. You're going 6-5-1. We're both hoping that Warrior Richard runs down the speed for Sharp and Jose Ortiz.
Yeah, I kind of like this horse a lot. And I mean, that's not saying a ton because because he's 2-1. So I'm not breaking any ground here. Joe Sharp has been pretty hot. You get Jose, who's obviously been hot. I think this horse can run on the wet. You see 5 out of 7 on the wet track, including his lifetime buyer top, 97, came on the wet track.
Mm-hmm.
He's tactical, but he could be tactical or he could close from the back. Like you said, maybe some of the speed went out, but if their pace is slow and we don't have much, this horse has shown that at least in a slower to moderate pace can sit closer and has shown the ability to pass horses and win, which sometimes that's enough. And then if you look at the last race, the next out winner came out of the last one, El Magnifico, came back and won with a 95 buyer, and then the horse who ran third, Gun Party, came back to win with a 92 buyer. So that race has come back relatively strong. And you see even what's the fourth horse, Real Men Violin. That was a horse that was poking around on the Derby Trail, if I
Way
remember
back
in the day. Yeah. Didn't do so well, but was poking her. Oh, actually, you got the second in the Illinois Derby up your way.
There you
So
go.
that was something. But I just thought that's a good race. And I think this horse fits whether it's wet or dry.
Yep.
I think this horse just makes sense. And obviously you're kind of with me.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. With the horse, just Jose's got to make sure that I would just tuck him in behind the speed. I liked the one before the scratch, and I like the one even more now. Santana and the rail is always dangerous. My issue though is to cut the cord for Carmouche. You know that Kendrick is going to be aggressive early and at least try to save ground. So
yeah,
although it's unlikely the 1 and 2 would hook up in a small field. The way with the short run into that bend and then Carmouche in the race, I could see it happening, which leads me to your 5 who you have in second. I just didn't think the 5 was as good as the others, but if it falls apart, this 5 is going to be coming late and will not have traffic in theory because it's a small field. I just didn't think that he was as classy and as fast as the others, but I'm using him also.
Yeah, he's a weird one because you can. It's almost like a little bit of a drop out of the last one, but not much by any stretch. Now you get Iran back again, who rode the horse last time, so has a better sense. At least the horse was improving a bit. I mean, it's run 13 times, but you get the buyer top last time out, so maybe there's a little bit of improvement. And again, this is a horse who showed 3 and 4 back and whatever that is, 6 back that can also pass horses. So again, if this horse gets a trip and gets a jump on, say, the 6 horse, if the 6 is too far back for some reason, I think this horse at least is going to be running late. Whether he's good enough to get the win off of that is probably the question.
I agree. The last race, look at Pete. What in the world? Now, look,
Holy
Pete.
crap.
We had to make adjustments, and we were adjusting to what we hope is the right horse. It looks like Pete and myself both could have great days or crappy days, depending on what happens. Last race is now also on the dirt. It is. Sorry, I'm hesitating. Yeah, it's on the shoot again. Maiden $100,000 claimers, which is a condition you don't see too often recently. It's basically maiden special weight, but it's not. They are slightly giving up on these horses, which is worth mentioning. There's scratches here of the 6, 7, 8, and 11. So the
11 surprised me. I thought the 11 would stay in and that was going to be my top pick actually with the switch. But
the 12 and 13 are now in the race as MTOs. I'm going 3, 13, 12, and Pete's going 3, 1, 12. We're both going with Chad and Flavian Iron Sight. Let me just say this first, Pete. If this race had stayed on turf, I thought it was impossible. I mean, I thought this was like, I had no opinion if it was on turf.
That's funny because
I barely have an opinion now. I thought it was really difficult if it was on turf. But you disagree.
That's funny because the 3 was one of my spot plays on the power picks on the turf, obviously, and I still like again, I'm going with I got the Chad Pratt combo, which I seem to like today, but I like this horse. There were some good stats that are irrelevant now of Chad, second time starter going to the turf, but Chad going for, like you said, even though this is a really high level claimer, maiden special weight to maiden claiming on dirt, Chad is still the same. He's 25%, 60% in the money, second time out. So he keeps the same level that he's always at. So you're not losing anything there. His dam, again, just in case it comes up wet, the dam shadowing, she actually won her second start in the slot. So if
Will Rogers, wow.
Yes, at Will Rogers, which take that for what it is, but she still did it. So I'll take that.
Was that during COVID? I think it was, wasn't it?
That
March
probably was because there
31st,
wasn't a
March
lot of running.
20th
Yeah,
of March 31st of 2020.
that's probably right around it, right?
I think
Because
so.
you don't
Okay.
see a lot of Will Rogers at Saratoga. Or you don't see a lot of Will Rogers
No.
in general. I mean,
Well, not for Asmussen too, but anyway,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
I digress.
But they
My
had to
bad,
run
Jersey.
somewhere, right?
They did.
But the debut lost the 2 quality horses. I thought the debut, yeah, got destroyed, but at least they came back, and I think they're quality horses. And again, it justifies can pretty much run at anything, so you give them a little bit of a wet track, they're fine regardless. I just think this horse translates well to the turf or dirt, and with the connections, I think this one still looks good to me.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't like this one on turf is, I mean, Chad's a pretty good turf trainer, right? Why wouldn't he start this horse on turf? You know, if this
I
race
know.
had been on
Yeah,
turf, I'm
if
just
it had been, yeah, you're
right,
right.
but it's not. This horse is working well, by the way. B works. I'm concerned this one's gonna be too far back, Pete, because out of that mile shoot, you just can't be that far back. It's rare you see a horse close from like 7, 8, 9 back
Yeah,
in these mile shoot races. So that is a concern to me. There's a lot of horses I know what to do with. I mean, the 4 and 5 have great connections, Chad and Pletcher, but they're turf horses and they're keeping them on, and they're off big layoffs. I don't know what to do with the 4 and 5. I don't really
5
trust
is
the
one of those
1.
horses whose time form is a lot better than the buyer. I think
Yes,
that's what I had a note
that's
for
true.
that one. Yeah,
The 1 was solid on dirt, and I probably should have the 1 in the mix, but then switch to turf. It's also coming back quickly. I don't know. It's Kendrick. The 1's going. The 1 is probably a bigger threat than I give him credit for. To full disclosure, I'll probably move up the 1 based on the things I said. But with the MTOs getting in, I'm interested. Nance, for you golf fans, is the 12. I've gotten third. Has run well for Linda on the dirt. Now gets IRAD. And then the 13 is the other Linda for Dylan, who actually I think is going to be a bigger price beat. But according to the works, this horse is working very well. That
Nice.
November race, I know it was against Maiden 50, came back fast. I hope Dylan is aggressive from the outside. It's not the 13 hole, it's the 9 hole. It's still not ideal, Pete, but Salvation to me, the 13 is very interesting in the last race, and I'm just hoping he gets the right trip. I have no doubts the horse is not ready to run. And I think the 13 Salvation could get a little bit lost in the shuffle, Pete, with, you got Chad and you got, Pletcher on, inside, etc. So I'm mainly 313. I'm going to use the 1 probably more than I have there on the screen. Pete, final thoughts. You're going to be out of town or not with us next week, so
Yes.
enjoy the time off. It's going to be the Whitney next weekend at Saratoga. Anything closing? Anything you want to mention from Del Mar yesterday? Just anything at all, because you're not going to be with us for 7 or 8 days here.
No, I'm a little upset that I'm missing. If I have to miss one, missing the Whitney card kind of stinks, because that's always an excellent card. So I'm excited to see at least what it looks like, and excited to at least handicap that, even though it'll be on vacation sitting on the beach somewhere. So I'm not upset about that part of it, but it's a great
Undisclosed
week.
location. We don't want the paparazzi and your fans,
I don't want them
chasing
following me
after
around.
all the
Yeah,
girls chasing after Jackson and
I mean, that'll
distracting him.
happen anyway. He is a Visco male, so we get the
Okay.
ladies chase
All
us
right.
all the time. But
All right.
we
Is
will.
it fair
Yeah,
to say it's on the East Coast, or is it not on the East Coast?
it's in Jersey. It's the beach in Jersey. I get to see
there
some
you go.
family. Yeah, we get to see
Okay.
some family at the
Nice.
beach, so we'll be
Gonna
enjoying.
see Nick?
No, he's not coming this year. He came last year. He's
wow.
actually he was
right.
he told me he was going to Saratoga this weekend, but I didn't hear from him once. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't know if that meant he was crapping the bed a little bit. I hear from him all day when he's at the track.
Sounds
so
like a wellness check, Pete, is what it sounds like.
I might have to. I might have to, because I didn't hear from him. But
man.
I see Terry Frank, Monmouth. Yeah, not close enough,
Well,
Terry. I'm closer to Atlantic City Racetrack, which is what I used to go to when we would go to the beach 1,000 years ago, which I love.
I bet Atlantic City on the turf, very tight turns on that Atlantic City turf course.
Little Julie Crone, little Julie Crone, roll it on the Atlantic City course. That was
a little Nick Santagata, perhaps.
Yes, sir. Yes,
there you
sir.
go.
I love
There's
it.
a name from the past, right?
That's old school.
Little CC Lopez.
Yes. I probably have an old program somewhere. I think.
Some good jocks out there.
Yeah.
Look, Pete, we enjoyed it again. Congrats on yesterday. Gave us great intel. Check for scratches and changes. There could still be changes at Saratoga. I think they're done for the day. And I think that's going to wrap things up, Pete. Appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, by the way, notification bell. Our viewership's been awesome. Pete, last thing I noticed, I looked today on our YouTube channel. We are very close, my friend, to 900,000 views on this podcast in its history. And based on some mathematics, which I'm pretty good at, we could very well cross the 1 million view mark by the end of 2025.
That would be awesome.
Amazing. We really do appreciate it. Please make sure you tell everyone about the show. Last thing, Weekend Warriors.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You got one today, right?
I got it. 3:30 Eastern. Kyle Rosso is going to be hosting. If it's as successful as it's been lately, then you will be crushing your bets all day. For Pete Visco, it's been Howard Kravitz. Weekend Warriors, Sunday, July 27th. Take care, everyone. Good luck at Saratoga. Crush your bets. Take care. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.